Hello guys, welcome to another session of AWS Cloud Database Administration. It's Martin again. It's another weekend and another weekend, another video for the community. Okay, so today we'll be looking at we'll continue with the introduction to RDS. Okay, and we'll be looking at the part three. And as I promised, the part three we'll be looking at we're going to have a deep dive into RDS instance classes. Okay. Yeah, guys. As we previously discussed, remember we said RDS gives you the opportunity to have three categories of instance classes, right? We have the standard classes, the memory optimized classes, and the burstable instances, right? Yeah. So today we are going to deep dive into these instances, understand their hardware specifications, because this is a very crucial part as far as cloud database administration is concerned. It is empirical for you to know the hardware specification of your particular instance class, right? You do not just go and select an instance class and you're deploying your RDS instance. No. First, when you decide to go for your category of maybe standard category or memory optimized, you need to understand, you need to search and understand its hardware specifications, right? So much so that you know that, okay, my instance class has maybe 16 gigabyte of memory, um, maybe 4 gigabyte of vCPUs and so on. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, guys. I know the very first question most people are going to ask, like, how do we get this information, right? And guys, always make sure you like all this information is online from official AWS documentation. So you can always go to AWS official documentation and you're going to have this information. Okay. So I will show you how you can let's consider that you have made a choice. You've understood what standard classes are, what memory optimized instance classes are, what burstable instance classes are, and you need a documentation that you can use it maybe to provide data to your CTO, right? To provide your chief technological officer on the reason why you actually made a decision to go for a specific instance class. Okay, yeah. Okay, guys. As you can see, um, I have I have gone to my browser and search hardware specifications for DB instance classes. Okay, this is always located like it's always located in your official Amazon RDS, like Amazon relational database documentation. Okay, so all documentation about RDS is under Amazon relational database service. Okay, and each service will always start with what is Amazon RDS. If it's EC2, you see what is Amazon EC2. Okay. Yeah. As I said, I searched for like I expanded DB instances. I saw the instance classes. Then I went to hardware specifications. Okay. So I click on hardware specifications of instance classes. Then I got this. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, so after making the choice now, you need to come and look for this hardware specification and see like what are the various hardware specifications that AWS is going to provide for these instances. Okay, so if you just scroll a bit, you're going to see the topics. So you see hardware specifications for like hardware terminology for your instance classes, hardware specification for general purpose instance class, right? You have hardware specification for memory optimized, hardware specification for compute optimized, guys, and hardware specifications for burstable instances, right? So you can just scroll down to, let's start with the standard instance classes, right? Remember, M classes are standard instance classes, okay? So as a database administrator, you come in and see, okay, this is the first general purpose standard instance classes, right? And it is well indicated that this DB, there are DB M8G, which are general purpose instance classes powered by AWS Graviton processors, right? Graviton 4 processors. okay? And each instance class gives you a certain number of vCPUs, a certain capacity for memory, and the specification of the EBS storage is there, and the maximum bandwidth, okay? So this is very crucial for database administrators to understand. Well, okay, if you decide to go for your M class, which of the M class do you actually want to use, right? Which of the M classes? Like you see the lowest here, we like for this class we have M8 M8G large that gives you 2 vCPUs and 8 GB of RAM, then up to 10,000 bandwidth. Okay, yeah, so it is. You see the other M classes. That's the M71. You see their capacity, their physical hardware specifications are there, and yeah. So that's how you go about this. Okay, that's M7. Still about the M. That's general purpose. It's still about the M. Um, still about the M, right? Then if you move down, we're going to see hardware specifications for memory optimized instance classes, okay? So as a database administrator, what I will do is that I will come in to these memory optimized instances and I will check. Remember, um, uh, yep, sorry. Yeah. So I will come in and check, like I'll see this, remember the X classes. I will look at the capacity, the vCPUs, look at the memory, look at the ABS and the bandwidth. So this is where you actually make a decision or maybe some sort of giving a report to your CTO, okay? So you see like which of them you're going to select or which of them you're actually going to be choosing for your instance class, right? And let's look for the R classes. Yeah, so you can see the R is still part of the memory optimized, right? These R classes like RS8G memory optimized classes for Graviton for processors. Yeah, so yes guys, so that's actually what I wanted to explain. So you'll be able to actually identify your hardware specifications, maybe put in your run book, and you're able to make a better decision. Okay. Okay, that's that for that's the standard instance classes, general purpose instance classes, and memory optimized, that is R and X. Okay, so we'll go ahead to look at the burstable instances. Guys, stay tuned. Burstable instances are very important, and I will need to explain some certain things for you to understand what burstable instance classes are. Okay. Yeah, so we are with hardware specifications for burstable instance classes. Remember, guys, burstable instances are instance classes with a T, right? The instance class starts with the T, right? Remember that. And yeah, guys, so you can see, so T4, you see the number of vCPUs, look at the memory, look at the EBS specifications, look at the bandwidth. So these are the stuffs you're going to be looking at. Why, like, what is the option? Why do you decide to choose DB, like a T4GX large? Because of the, like, the hardware specifications, right? So that's like this T3, okay? Yeah, that's T2. Yeah, so guys, so now going in depth into burstable instance classes, guys. Memory optimized instance classes and general purpose or standard instance classes, they are straightforward. Memory optimized instance class, like they have more memory resources than compute, right? And standard instances have a balance between memory resource, like memory optimized and compute optimized, okay? But for burstable instance classes, guys, what are burstable instance classes? From the word burstable. Yeah, so what are burstable instances, guys? This is where you need to, like, is very crucial for you to understand. It is true, this instance class, like, they are the cheapest, and um, most database administrators or cloud database administrators tend to choose these instance classes because they think that they are the cheapest. And yes, it's true they are the cheapest, but they are crucial in performance. If you do not really know how to use a burstable instance class, you're going to have issue with performance, right? Because Burstable instance classes, if you look at their specifications, let's look at the hardware specifications. You see, they have eight. Some of them have eight vCPUs, and some of them have just two vCPUs. Okay, and some even have just one vCPUs and just 1 gigabyte of RAM. But a good database administrator who knows what a burstable instance is can actually run his RDS instance using this class, right? If you have a maybe an RDS instance class that's just of testing purposes, you can go for DB2 small or T2 micro, right? Or maybe T3 without any problem. But you need to understand how these instances function. So for us to understand how these instances function, I will take you to for us to understand the concept of bursting, right? When they say an RDS instance is burstable, what does that mean? It is like it is that RDS instance class that accumulates credit. Okay, when you consume CPU that is below the baseline. I repeat, these burstable instance classes are those instance classes that gives you more credit. Okay, and those credits are later converted into more CPUs when you use those instance classes at their baseline, below the baseline. What do I mean again by that? Meaning, if you have an RDS instance, let's say you have a DBT2, or let's go T3. Let's say you have DBT3 medium that gives you two vCPUs and 4 gigabyte of RAM. Okay, there is AWS has given some specifications for your baseline consumption of a CPU. For DBT3 medium, um, yeah, so I've gone to EC2 instance to actually get the baseline, right? Guys, this baseline, you can always get this baseline in the EC2 documentation, okay? So for DBT T3, let's go T3 medium. For DB23 medium, the baseline utilization of CPU is 20%. What what does this mean? It simply means that if your RDS instance class is DBT T3 medium and you are like your CPU utilization, your vCPU utilization is below 20%, what happens is that RDS is going to accumulate 24 credit CPU credit per hour, meaning if your as your RDS instance is running below 20% vCPUs, for 1 hour you're going to accumulate 24 CPU credits, and these 24 CPU credits would later on be converted into CPUs to boost your performance when your RDS instance needs more capacity. Okay, so that is the concept about burstable instances which DBA must understand. Yeah, so what does that mean? Mean that how can you then use burstable instances to save costs as a database administrator? How can you use them to save costs? It is by making sure that your RDS instance does not run below the specified baseline. It does not run above the specified baseline. If your RDS instance is running at the CPU utilization of 20% and above, you won't accumulate any credit. And in the moment where your RDS instance needs more capacity, it will not scale more. Okay, it won't scale, like CPU won't scale, and you're going to have resource contention and you're going to have performance issues. So you must optimize and look for the most appropriate RDS instance that is going to fit your baseline consumption. What do I mean by that? Sometimes you decide to choose DBT3. Okay, when you choose DBT3 medium and you check the baseline, like you check your CPU utilization. If your CPU utilization is around, let's say, 30%, okay, for T3 medium, it shows that you are already going above um, the baseline. So you won't this particular instance will not be beneficial to you as a DBA. This is not beneficial because you're going to have performance issue. Yeah, it's true you'll be able to pay a lower cost, but you're going to still have performance issue when you need to scale. And in most cases, what I'll do is that I will try the DB large, okay, because the baseline here is 30%, is below 30%. And if I actually go in for DB3 T3 large, and I see that my CPU utilization average within maybe a period of 1 month, it is below 30%. It therefore means that I can go in for the Burstable instance class DB T3 T3 large, right? And sometimes you may even go for DB23X large, so much so that the baseline will always, like, you always have a baseline that is high, and you will be able to, like, scale. You earn more credit, and you'll be able to boost your performance without any problem. Okay. And guys, make sure that you have a metric that captures your CPU utilization and your CPU credit balance. Very important, your CPU credit balance, because when your CPU credit balance is zero, when you have an increase in workload, what happens is that your RDS instance may even, go OOM, like out of memory, or it may fail over, right, because of resource contention. And yeah, so you need to understand credit. When credit balance is zero and you have high workload, make sure that you check your resources. Okay, so you must capture your CPU utilization, look at your CPU credit balance when it comes to Burstable instance classes. Okay, and okay, guys. So that's that for today. As I told you, my goal was to give you a deep dive into these three categories of instance classes, so that you'll be able to make a choice on a good choice in your capacity planning when deploying your RDS instance, right? So just a recap: if your RDS instance or your database activity needs more memory, guys, please go with the R and the X instances. If your RDS instance needs a balance between um, compute and memory, please go with the M instances, right? Okay, so go with the M instances. And if you need to optimize costs, you need to boost performance, you need to earn credit to increase your performance, um, then you go for the T instance class. That's the burstable instance classes. Okay, but be very careful with instance class. These burstable instance classes, guys, they are very cheap, but you need to know how to use them in order to take advantage of those of the credit and the lower cost. Okay, and yeah, so okay, guys, so that's that for today. And as I told you, my name is Martin. I'm a database cloud support engineer for Amazon Web Services, guys. You can reach out to me on LinkedIn, remember. And yeah, so you can always reach out to me on LinkedIn. And sorry, yeah, you can always reach out to me on LinkedIn, and I'll be able to get to you. Okay. So that's my profile, and yeah, just been here for a couple of months, or 9 months now. Okay. All right. Okay, guys. So if you have any question, if you have any worry, guys, you can put it in the comment section, or um you let me know. I will make a video on it, or I will respond to you directly. Okay. And remember, guys, you can always subscribe. As I told you, I will be giving back to the community, like all what I've learned, all what I have in me. I'll be sharing with the community by making these videos every weekend, as I promise. Okay. Okay, guys. Ciao. Take care. See you next time. Maybe tomorrow. Bye bye.